If you struggle with email marketing and sometimes feel like it shouldn't be that complicated, I get to. I spent years obsessing about email marketing, feeling confused about the right strategy to follow, buying expensive courses, only to eventually realize that it all boils down to 4 very simple steps. And these are the same steps I followed to grow an engaged email list of thousands of subscribers that allowed me to keep my business running while I took a whole sabbatical year off to be more present with my baby while I was on my maternity leave. We'll start with the number 1 struggle I found myself in for years. Which format should my emails follow? Should they look plain or more curated? Can I add loads of pictures in it? Should I stick to a weekly theme or should I be more casual about it? There are many different types of newsletter formats, and although I do have my personal preference, which I'll tell you about shortly, there's not a right or wrong answer per se. For example, some newsletters have a more rigid, curated format with a similar design and blocks that are just updated every week, while some others look like plain letters and don't have any particular design or style to it. What format you choose ultimately depends on what goal you have for your newsletter, what content you're trying to promote, and your style or branding. So it's really just a stylistic choice that really doesn't impact your email strategy as long as you follow step number 1 of the 4 steps process. Send emails to trigger reactions and not to just passively broadcast news to your list. In fact, broadcast means to transmit information or news to people. But your subscribers are likely already bombarded with information all over different mediums, from other newsletters to social media platforms. They don't need to passively absorb more information. Instead, focus on creating engaging emails that trigger a reaction in your reader's mind. And by reaction, I mean referring to any action or response that may result from reading your email based on the goals you have set for that particular email. This could be inviting your audience to reply and engage in a one-to-one conversation with you, or taking action from something they've learned from the email you sent. Or perhaps it could be asking them to click onto a link to buy something, or simply triggering an emotional response in your reader's mind. Trigger a reaction. And to go back to my personal experience, less is more. So regardless of which format you decide to go for, make sure to not overcrowd the email with too many graphics or pictures, which, by the way, may not always display well on your reader's mobile, depending on which settings they have turned on. It may affect your email deliverability as well, but this is a topic for another video. I personally really love a good, plain, short email with maybe 1 or 2 images here and there. So what do we actually write in these emails then? Although it's good to have a variety of topics for your newsletter, which we'll get into in a second, it's absolutely crucial to have one singular and clear focus for it, or in marketing terms, one big idea. The concept of the one big idea was coined by David Ogilvy, one of the most influential figures of traditional advertising. He said, "It takes a big idea to attract the attention of consumers and get them to buy your product. Unless your advertising contains a big idea, it will pass like a ship in the night." In simpler terms, your big idea is like a central theme for your newsletter, but one that has a messaging that will hook in and speak directly to your ideal customers. This will likely be the same message you will also want to get across with your personal branding. And I actually have a whole video about personal branding coming up soon, which you will find linked down below if you're watching this in the future. So everything you'll talk about in your emails should ultimately lead to your big idea. But this doesn't mean you'll only talk about that one idea constantly. You'll use specific content pillars to get your big idea across. And content pillars are simply topic categories that you can use strategically to get your big idea across. Think of the big idea like a glue holding together all the different topics you'll talk about so that you don't risk diluting the main message you want to get across with your emails. Jonathan Stark, one of the marketers I learned email marketing from, explains this concept quite cleverly by referring to this big idea as a sun and the content pillars as planets, which are pulled towards the sun thanks to its gravitational force. And let's make an example by comparing this concept of the big idea to big brands' big ideas. So Nike's big idea would be to inspire people to just do it, meaning to pursue their fitness goals by not overthinking and just taking action. Or Apple's ones would be to think different and challenge the status quo. So if Nike's were to send emails, they will likely make their newsletters big idea all centered around their just do it philosophy. And one of the key content pillars could be all about perseverance. And as a topic, they could showcase inspirational stories of ordinary people taking action and persevering in their fitness journey. Let me also give you a practical example of one of my favorite newsletters that perfectly showcases this concept. This is Stand the Out by Grenier, founder of Everyone Hates Marketers. The big idea of his newsletter and all of his personal brand is to help marketers stand the out without selling their soul or relying on marketing bullshit. Translated, he offers advanced positioning and branding advice that helps you stand out in your marketplace. Now, I don't know Luis's exact email marketing strategy, but just by looking at his website, I can clearly identify content pillars that are pretty much in line with the methodologies he follows for his one-to-one coaching services, which are unique positioning, distinctive brand, continuous reach. So always keep in mind, your content pillars should always be directly tied to the transformation that your products or services offer to your ideal client. Which brings us straight to step number 3. Should you sell in every email? And if so, how often? When we send an email, we are effectively reaching a person in a very direct way. This can feel quite intimidating for many people. I know it was for me. And it can impact our ability to email more frequently and sell our offers more confidently. So let me tell you about my first years of sending emails for my first business, Bottega Zero Waste. I would only send one shy weekly email promoting my new free content and giving my audience a few free resources and personal updates. And I rarely, if never, linked my natural soaps and online courses in it. Then I would do that occasional email promotion whenever I had a new offer or I was launching a new course or something was on sale. But this approach is quite problematic because it clearly splits your nurturing phase from your conversion phase. And I firmly believe that your email's role should be the one of continuously educating about your solutions and your offers at the same time. That's why the third step of our formula is to sell while you serve, without disqualifying one from the other. Because selling is in fact a form of service. When we sell, we are effectively also serving the people that most need our help. And yes, it may repel the ones that are not ready yet, but that's okay. They're just one unsubscribe button away from not hearing from us, and they can still hang out on our social media or blog and can come back to our newsletter anytime when they're ready for more. So if you have any products or offers available to purchase at all times, it is your duty as a business owner to offer the possibility to your subscribers to purchase them at any given time. Because at the end of the day, if there's no link to purchase, those interested won't have anything to click on to purchase. And every email that doesn't contain a link to a product or a service that you offer is a missed sale opportunity. So does this mean that you need to sell in every single email you send? Well, yes and no. First of all, we need to look at how often you email. So say you only email once a month or once a week, then I wouldn't waste your monthly or weekly opportunity for your subscribers to become a customer of yours. But if you send emails more frequently, say 3 to 5 times a week or even daily, then you have more space to send emails in series, where some emails might simply be there to build up a narrative to then end up in a more direct sales pitch towards the end of the series. And to go back to the example of Grenier, he emails daily, so it would be a little off if every single one of his emails would include a strong and very direct sales pitch to working with him, right? However, he always has a link to working with him right at the bottom of his emails for anyone in his audience who is ready to buy. But here's the thing, people that join your email list will be at different stages of their buyer's journey. Some will be ready to purchase straight away, while others might not be yet. But regardless at which stage they are, it's important that they all already have a good level of awareness around their problem and the possible solutions they could take to solve the problem, so that when they join, they will be interested in hearing more about what solution you can offer. Which takes us to the last step. When people visit your opt-in form and decide to give you their valuable email address, what are they getting in return? This step is essential because the more clear and specific you are, the more you will attract people that are genuinely interested in joining your list and hearing from you. So it's important to avoid broad statements such as join my email list and receive offers and news from me. This will confuse your audience, and always remember, confusion is always the number one conversion killer. And this is a topic just on its own for another video. And to be honest, if you offer a free resource in return for the person's email address, setting expectations from the get-go is even more crucial. If you don't do that, you run into the risk of attracting a low-quality audience that was never really interested in hearing from you in the first place. You know, that audience that gives you their worst email address just to get the free PDF and then ghosts you. We've all done it, okay? I do it all the time and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Anyways, by setting clear expectations from the get-go, you will increase your chance of attracting a qualified audience. An audience actively interested in learning more about the solution you have to offer and potentially becoming a client. So in practice, you can do this by letting people know what's in it for them, as well as who your newsletter may not be for. You can do this by letting people know about the big idea of your newsletter, what topics you write about, how often you email, as well as any warnings that may repel the wrong people off. And you can do this partly in your email's opt-in form and in your first welcome email you send. Now, let's take a look at Grenier's example again. You can see he's very clear from the get-go about the big idea of his newsletter. What people are actually going to learn about, which is positioning, branding, and lead generation. How often he emails, which is Monday to Friday. So he's very clear about what's in for the potential subscriber, but he also passively lets people know he may not be for everyone because, well, he emails Monday to Friday, and let's be honest, only the most interested people will want to receive that many emails. So we've been through these 4 strategic steps, which, as we've seen, are essential if you want to succeed with email marketing. But before we wrap this video up, there is one very important point you must always keep in mind. As cliche as it might sound, always remember that there is an actual human at the other side of the screen. Email marketing has the potential to be a much more intimate communication channel compared to, say, social media. And this is crucial because your ultimate marketing goal is the one to establish trust with your audience. Because as humans, we will only ever buy from people we trust. And when that happens, your subscribers will be just one click away from becoming loyal customers. But here's the thing, in order to establish trust, you first need to be very clear about who you are as a personal brand, who is it that you're speaking to, and what your unique voice is. To find all about this, make sure to subscribe to my channel and watch this video next.